Hey folks, Steve here. How you doing? I didn't have a proper introduction to this video, so I figured I would come down here quick in my basement and film one. And just to let you know what's coming up, this is another long video, and it's a compilation video of a lot of different things I did literally back like late spring, early summer, getting our downstairs half bath gut put back together as we went along the way to get to this addition that's above me. So it was one of the things that was affected, and we took it as an opportunity to let's hit the reset button on this particular area. It was attached to our old kitchen, if you will. It's the room right next door to it. And that old kitchen becomes a pantry. It's now a pantry. And so we just gutted the whole thing and were able to put it back and have a little bit more control over all of that. So what's in this video coming up? Here's what we've got. I start out right outside here, and I am actually having to modify a WEDI shower system base. So I talk about that. I don't really show you cutting the base. I think I'd already cut it, but I'm explaining the problems that I had with that. Then we go up into the new bath. It's a half bath. And it's pretty much gutted, you know, just studs and everything else. And I'm talking about the fact the plumbing was done that day. And I was doing all the water testing on the plumbing, both supply side and then drain side. And I showed in sufficient detail there. Feel free to skip through it if you don't want to see plumbing tests. Beyond that, you see a lot of my basement plumbing, and I've labeled a lot of things. So I go down there and I see a label, and I know exactly what that valve is for. Beyond that, because I'm in and out of my basement so much, I actually just took a moment and said, hey, here's my steam boiler and all the plumbing for my steam boiler, just as in passing. It's not like a detailed overview of steam heat. But we use the old steam radiators from the late 1800s. That's what we have. We have 10 of them. And so I have a steam boiler for all that. Steam boiler is relatively new. We do the drain. I'd show the drain side plumbing test. We had 3 drains coming out of there: toilet, sink, shower. So I show all of that. Then I need to modify the curbing for the shower. It's a WEDI curb, W-E-D-I. It's a kind of a waterproofing shower system you can buy with panels and everything. And so I bought a curb for it, and then I had to modify the curb because the curb didn't work right. Weird, you know. That curb was nothing was inexpensive for that. Then I just basically am prepping the shower base up in the space, show you a little bit of that, and then I kind of end with getting the thin set, and I show you like a scoop that I use for my thin set to get a lot of it down without goofing up my trowel. And so I'm just throwing some thin set down. But then the video just kind of ends, and I looked for, you know, troweling it around, you know, getting ready. Did I have a video setting the WEDI base in the thin set, you know, anything? Nothing. I can't find it. If I shot the video, I have no idea where I downloaded it from or if I overwrote it or anything like that. So that's what you get in this video, and I will try and in future videos attached to a playlist that this will join, just basically tracking the journey of moving through my house, getting to the big addition upstairs, which, you know, for us is huge. It's a really beautiful kitchen, and at some point I'll tell you how many seemingly hundreds of thousands of dollars we have been through on this one. All right, well, hey, you all take care. Thank you very much. If you would, like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to hit the closed caption and maybe hit like speed 1.25 or something to get through it. But either way, you know, it's just work compilation. So if you're into that, if you're into the projects that I am doing, great, you're at the right spot. If you don't like this stuff, you're already gone. Hey, all right, well, hey, you all take care. Have a good one. I know you deserve it. Please like and subscribe. Free to you. Really helps me out a lot. And I do hope you enjoy. Look forward to hearing comments. I respond to everything so far. Take care. Hey folks, Steve here. How you doing? Getting ready to start working on a shower, and we're going to do a WEDI base with, it's kind of a WEDI system, except that I was given some wall. It wasn't a kit that we bought, and so the walls are from a different manufacturer, but they're, you know, rated for waterproof and all of this stuff, and they're akin to the WEDI, just not at the expense of the WEDI, although I didn't see a price difference, to be honest. So what I have here, I have what is called the Fundo Primo base. We ordered it in. I needed it 54. The 54 is not a stock number. You get, I think, 32, 36 maybe, 48, 60, and 72, I think, are the standard numbers. 54, not a standard number. And it's better to have it longer versus shorter and try and add a piece because it's the base. That way you get consistent thickness. And so with this, we ordered a 72. That's the closest we could get. You said, well, 60, right? Except 60, all the 60s that we found has a center base. And so in the middle of the 60, right at 30, you're going to have that center, or you're going to have the drain at the center of the base. We wanted an offset base at the end of the shower. And ideally, now what I should have thought, we should have done a linear drain as well, but we didn't. So, ordered the 72 in. I just used my track saw, measured 54 over, cut the whole thing through. This is at its widest over here, 2 inches thick. 2 inches thick. And because this is actually formed to drain, it is thinner here. You can actually see the curvature there in the drain itself, or in the base itself for drainage. And so I set my track saw at maximum depth, 2 1/8. Right through it, no problem whatsoever. There is on the WEDI a masonry surface, and so I probably chewed up my blade a little bit. And then the rabbet. This is the channel that will receive your side pieces and a curve or whatever you're going to do in order to kind of lock it in, and then waterproof it with sealer. With this, I need to create that. It's 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch rabbet. And that was, again, easy. I just made a mark 1/2 inch in, used the track saw, set it to a 1/2 inch, made sure to adjust that depth, and then went ahead and ran through it. And then I simply drew a straight line with a piece of scrap lumber that was straight enough. And then I just took my knife and I literally just knifed through the foam itself because I'm not trying to knife through the masonry surface here. An addendum to the WEDI. So I scored that with the knife all the way down through, figuring it would snap right off. Yeah, on the panels, on the 1/2 inch panels, I've had good luck with that. This, ugh, it was really horrible as far as it was just chewed up with my knife, and my knife had a fresh blade in it, so it wasn't that. So what I did was I simply took the track saw and I set the track on there, and I just did a series of passes as if I were going to produce a rabbet with the track saw in lumber. And so I just did a number of passes to clean it up. Fortunately, I was not down below the 1/2 inch line, and so I cleaned it up, and actually it gives me a nice flat surface here for adhesion of the caulk that they use. It's a dedicated product, I guess, to WEDI or this type of shower installation. All right, so an addendum. Knife, on the base at least, not so hot. Maybe on the panels, much different. Hey folks, Steve here, how you doing? Well, in this little half bath, and I'm about to do a water test. I think I am fully ready to go. The one thing I need to do is I have a shower valve mixer on this side. It's a real simple setup. It's just only supplying a shower head only, nothing else, not a wand or a tub filler or anything like that. Toilet supply, sink, hot and cold, and then the shower head. And I have bleeder valves. When I was making stub outs, I actually went ahead and made these are temporary, and then I'll replace these with stub outs. But basically I had some extra valves, and so I went ahead and sistered some valves onto there. And so a couple that have the hose bib fittings, and then I have a compression fitting up there. And I also have a compression fitting up there. I won't test that until I'm done with the toilet, and I'll just move that line. This way I know I can bleed the air out of the line and get water flowing through it and know that we're all good to go, that I don't have an air gap and that I'm going to leak right there. Okay. Everything is PEX all the way to where I transition from copper to PEX. So it's on me if it leaks. Let's check it out. Alright, so everything's up here. I bought some labels in order to label everything. That way it's just, we know exactly what it is. I have a lot more labeling to do later, and I'll admit, secretly, I'm kind of having a good time with this label stuff. I mean, it's 15 bucks. I got like 500 of these zip tie labels. Wow, 4 colors, I think, 4 or 5 colors. Secretly, I'm having fun with this stuff. Oh, now it's not a secret. Over here, that's the main for the cold water, and that is only going to go to the next valve. I admit, I overvalved everything, because I'll tell you what, the ability to isolate anything and everything with a valve, why not? Yeah, they're expensive, but I'd prefer to be able to shut things off, and only that. I'm secretly nervous. And that's a scary sound. Alright, so let's go to the next valve. Make sure we got everything here. When I install these valves, I always make sure these valves are off, and I double and triple check. So this water comes over to here, tees up, comes over to here, and then goes this direction, and this direction also has a valve that's shut off. So I can test these things one at a time. So let's go ahead and test that. All right, and from there over, checking all these fittings, just looking for anything. Normally with PEX, it either leaks or it doesn't. Now back upstairs to see if we have any leaks right at the dog ears. So this is cold water to toilet, sink blocking. I do not hear anything. I do not see anything anywhere. All right, so if I turn this on, I should get some air, and then I should get some water in here. Okay, now I have water all the way to this valve. Now it's this gate valve. Alright, so I'm good to those two fittings. So this is off. I can take this off and exchange it up to the shower. Now the one thing I cannot test very easily, especially in the fact that I do not have a 1/4 inch line at the moment, and I should get one just for test purposes, is right here, ice maker line. That's a 1/4 inch compression fitting, and I will not be able to test that other than if I want water to dribble out of here. So I technically can test it, but I can't test it in a controlled way. Oh, and by the way, yes, that is a plywood wall because we have all cabinets there, almost actually all the way to the door. And this way I know that I'm going to be able to hit everything I need to hit. And I have to attach that piece. I have a strip down there, but this wall also plywooded all the way up, and the ceiling gets tin, and the tin is a nail-on tin, so I went ahead and did that. Just because I wanted to know that no matter where I put a nail or a screw, I was going to hit it, and none of this will be seen when this area is finished. Okay, well, let's test some more. All right, so we know that line is good there. This line here goes to the shower. Hot water, bathroom sink, so this is the next one to test right here, but I need the hot water main, and for me, this bathroom, that's the hot water main. So if I do this, this water simply comes from hot water heater over, transition from copper to PEX, and then it comes over here, tees, hits the sink in the bathroom, and then comes over here and hits the shower, and that's it for the hot water in that bathroom. All right, so I'm good for water to here. So this is what I need. It's always the nervous part. Here again, I'm looking for leaks. I don't see any leaks. Up to there. And again, typically you're going to see it if it's just like with copper. If you don't get a good soldered copper fitting, that you know, it immediately just starts to spray water or drip water, something. Oh, really cool! Check this out. So this is all for my this is cold water inlet for my steam boiler, and they use the copper press fittings all over the place here. A separate plumber came in, plumbed my hot water heater when we swapped it out. Now the steam, I didn't plumb that. I could have replaced and done my own hot water heater, but we rent one. We have since we bought the house a bunch of years ago, and they're like not quite 24/7, but even on a Saturday or Sunday, I think they'll come in and replace your hot water heater if it goes bad. So that's the insurance that I have for renting this thing for 20 bucks a month. A goal of mine is to switch back over to copper with those press fittings as opposed to PEX. I really prefer copper. I would love to do copper. I was going to do copper, all of that down there, except I was convinced by a contractor friend of mine who does high-end stuff, like, you know, working on $500,000 around here. $500,000 is a woohoo house. Okay, just, you know, for scale. And so $500,000 up, you know, they're doing jobs like that, not only building those houses, but remodeling and putting things onto those houses. So, you know, they're doing mid to high level, high-end construction. They convinced me that they're doing PEX everywhere. But what they do is like a reverse osmosis system to remove any junk in the water, to make sure that whatever comes out of the taps is what you would expect from a Class A plumbing job, regardless of the water quality. Okay, so I'm up here at the hot water, looking at my hot water, which is right here at the moment. I don't see anything at all. So let's go ahead and test this. Get the water online, see if we get hot water. Well, it would actually get hot relatively quickly because we're close to the hot water heater, but all right. Okay. And really what this is doing is this is testing these fittings down here, not necessarily those. This is temporary, of course, because you'll get your chrome nipples in here or whatever we're doing, and you know, that's all finished plumbing at that point. And I'm not worried if I leaked here or if these leaked. That's all temporary. Those are just for testing. Shower head. And for that, I need to figure out that mixing valve. So I'm going to pause, read some instructions, make sure that I can actually just hot and cold right there at that valve and turn it back off again. There it is again. So in order to get this ready for water, all I had to do was remove this ring, it just screws off. This pulls out, this test plug, and there are some O-rings. Make sure those O-rings are seated, put the plug back, screw this back on, and if there's a bonnet, that bonnet would actually cover that as well, but I do not have what they're calling a bonnet. My assumption is when I turn the water on, it's going to go to that mixer, and it's going to go right to the shower head up there, because I do not have a valve. There's no cartridge in there. I do not have a valve, and so that's what I assume will happen. We'll see, because there's no reason for that water not to go to that, because there's no way to control it. So that's what the plan is, and at least I'll be able to test if I have water up there, because I can do the hot and the cold independently of each other, and that way at least I know everything is working. Otherwise, I'm hoping that the cartridge comes with the valve system that we bought for the kit here. We'll find out. Cold water is right there, so that would be the first thing that I could try. All right, let's try it. Man, this again, I'm always nervous. Makes me nervous but doing this by myself because it's all up there. I think I would see water pretty quick though if it came back down. But, oh. Everything's looking good as far as the plumbing. Again with PAX, for the 5th time. It seems to, it's kind of like lights, you wire them up, they either come on or they don't. And with plumbing, it either leaks or it doesn't on the supply side. Drain sides, they can take a while. They'll sneak up on you sometimes, especially on P-traps under sinks. They're the bane of my existence. So we have cold water plumbing coming up to here. I have a few fittings to get me over there. And down. Not seeing anything, so I think we're good. Always concerned about in here. Everything looks good there for the cold water. Also my cap, because I capped instead of going up through the ceiling, I went down through the floor. If I turn that on, I should have cold water. So let me grab a bucket. All right, so air and hopefully a little bit of water. I'm seeing some water. That's a good sign. Let me turn this off before I fill my bucket up. And again, I'm not seeing any leaks, which actually would be fine for testing for both the hot and the cold because they're coming up the same way. All right. Looking good. Coming over and then down. I do not see anything wet whatsoever. Because I should, I'm going to go ahead and test the hot water as well. I will cut the cold off so I know that only hot water is coming out once, after the line is, the line is charged. But eventually it'll be hot water pushing the cold water out. And then I think I can test the drains. Alright, so back down here, cold water shower, off. Alright, so cold water shower. I do have to remember, I have hot water onto the sink, cold water onto the sink and the toilet, so just to make sure of that. And hot water to the shower right here. Here we go again. So I shouldn't hear as much now as far as the rush of water because it's only going to fill this line to the fill valve. Or actually this line may have backfed. Depending on if there's a check valve, this line may have backfed with cold water to here from the other line because I don't have a cartridge in there. So I may not hear any rush at all. And I didn't, so that's what happened. Without a cartridge, cold water actually also filled all the way to this valve. And so you kind of get like a backflow situation. And certainly getting water, so there's pressure and there's pushing. And then looking down there, I glanced at it on my way in, and I did not see any water down there whatsoever. Okay, successful. Okay, so hot water off. So shower is off, shower is off. Okay. Hot water, I do not need hot water to the sink at this point, so I can shut that off. The only thing I have at the moment is cold water to the sink and the toilet, and I'm going to need those momentarily. Alright, so none of this has been really super reinforced and braced. I've got a lot of bracketing to do to hold everything up the way I want it. But I have this little droopy line right here, which is my ice maker. So if I turn this on, then I should get water to that ice maker. All right, so here again, checking connections. I'm not seeing any water at the moment. Oh wow, that's really bright. Ice maker goes in that direction. Okay, everything looking good. I didn't see any dripping water down below in here. We have water. That's enough for me. On the supply side, I can't find anything wrong. I wasn't expecting it because it's PEX. PEX is, as long as you know, every once in a great while you can kind of twist something a little bit, or you know, crimp it a little bit, you know, incorrectly. But most of the time it's foolproof, and you know, it's simple. Now what I want to do is I want to take my cold water, and I want to test my 3 drains. I have toilet drain, sink drain, shower drain. And so I want to run some water down each one of these, go down, take a look. I'll have plenty of flow here. This should be potentially more flow for a sustained period of time than it would ever have. Even with the shower head will not put out, I think, what these will if I turn it on full. But I'm not going to do that. Here we go. Okay, cold water is on. Toilet. Nope, no, I take that back. That's on the hot water, so let me switch it over to cold water. Okay, switched over, just turned the water on, going down the drain. Pretty sufficient stream. And certainly that's not going to be the volume. I'll fill up a bucket and also dump it down there as well, but let's check the stream out and see what's got. Okay, so coming down through there, don't see anything not fitting at all. Now, yeah, there's a drip of water there, but that's because I was pouring water down that drain earlier, and as big as that drain is, I missed it. All right, actually, it's just pipe. Fitting, and nothing there. Transitions back to iron, and that all dates back from probably 100 years ago. I have my bucket. I'm going to pour it down there and just go downstairs and see if anything higher up on those joints have leaks. No really big deal here. Okay, we are flushing. We are flushing. First off, on the toilet, still dry, pipe is dry, fitting is dry, downstream of the toilet, fittings are dry, Fernco is dry, all the way down, and everything else is. Okay, next is the sink drain. Here's the sink drain, comes up through there, don't see anything on the line, comes over to here, I'm not seeing anything there, all the way down in. Oops. That's a pain in the butt. Here again, nothing there, nothing there. Okay, so that's good. Okay, the last thing I have is my shower drain, and so I'll just switch that supply over, put some water down the shower drain and see what we got. Comes out of there, that's dry. Comes here, that is dry. This is dry. Had an accident. That's dry. P-trap is dry. It's hand tightened, but it's actually dry. Dry over to here, dry there. These fittings are dry. Of course, that's probably still dripping, but again, that's just the clean out. Well, thank you very much for sticking with me, testing everything by myself, and everything came out a-okay. I know I have a little bit of work to do on that clean out cap, but clean out plug. Otherwise, I think we're good to go. And so now it's WEDI system. So I have the WEDI system next, so that WEDI base will go down there, and I have to thin set that in. This wall and that wall have nothing to do with square at all, and so I'm going to have to fur the inside of this wall again not maybe all the way to the corner there, but maybe from like mid-window out to get a flat surface square with this base, because the walls have to sit in that joint and I can't have a gap back there, so I need to have positive screwability and they need to be, again, solid. So I'll have to do a little bit more furring to make sure, but that's going to help me with tile, because then the tile will go in as square as I can make it, and so I'm not building problems into a tile job and then you stand back and go, wow, man, the tile sucks. Many times it's because, you know, the walls weren't square or something like that, other than layout. Well, that's next. That's not tonight. I have some other things to do out there and get cleaned up in here, but feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good. I have to take off these water valves and I have to put on stub outs, and then I'll be set and ready to go to rock, so I'll measure for rock and we're on our way. Man, you spend 1,800 bucks on a WEDI kit, and I don't know as I got a real deal or anything, but you spend $1,800 on a WEDI kit to go to install. It comes with a curb, or well, we got a curb. It's the thin curb. There's a thick one and a thin one. Small bathroom, thin curb, right? So I checked a video out just to make sure, you know, because I don't do these things all the time. It has been a while since I've done one, so I didn't want to miss some weird step, you know, along the way and I go, ah. So I watched the video, checked everything. It was exactly how I remembered it. Cool, right? Go to fit the curb on. This is all dry fit. Go to fit the curb on. You know, curb latches in, you've got a rabbet here, and so everything locks in as a rabbet. It doesn't lock in, but you glue it there, seal it there, and you know, and then everything sets in thin set at the base. All right, well, I'm going along and, you know, just test fitting everything, and this curb, you know, fits, it locks right, you know, again, it fits into the rabbet that's provided with its rabbet, so it locks in there. But the curb itself is standing a half inch above the subfloor all the way down through. Now this is a curb, and this is a curb. I'm assuming that, you know, the door is going to sit on the curb and you are going to possibly step on the curb. Now it'll be covered with stone, so the stone will add a lot of structure to it. But I don't want this thing just hanging in midair, only being held by some sealant. That's just because I couldn't even get this to embed in thin set unless I wanted to pack it right in there, you know, a half inch thick. My goodness, that's not the correct application. So I'm out here, lovely track saw, and I'm doing multiple cuts. I checked the rabbet depth and everything, so I'm doing multiple cuts to make that rabbet taller so the base of the curb sits on the subfloor proper and I can embed it properly into thin set. So I know that everything is sound and on the floor, nothing is floating or hanging. Then when it gets covered by stone, I'll feel much better about the product. Custom, right? Good thing we have tools, and good thing we have some skills and know-how. Hey folks, Steve here. So, dry fit. Curb is now firmly on the floor after modifying that rabbet and taking off an additional, I believe, half inch. So I made that rabbet a half inch taller. So that clearly is on the ground. It is locking in as far as just the rabbets are doing what they need to do. The drain is centered, so we're all good there. And it looks like we have a good fit. Now I'm going to have to fur over there. I'm going to have to fur a couple of joists to make my paneling work because this room is not square, but everything else is looking good. So with the dry fit complete, now it is time to draw my line so I know basically where to stop thin setting, and it's time to mix up some thin set. Oh boy. Scooping and laying down. So just a little thing that I do to get a lot of thin set down without having just to scoop it out with a trowel, make that trowel all messy. So here's a bunch of scoops right there, and now it's time to spread it out. All right, hey, y'all take care. If you would, like and subscribe please, yay, and have a good day, because I know you deserve it. All right.